gentle parenting does not work. You just seen that, right? We've been conditioned in today's society to believe that everything needs to be a debate. When you give a kid a command, you have to have a debate. Put your shoes on. Instead of saying that, today's society wants you to say,
well, don't you think your feet will feel better if you put shoes on since it's cold outside?
This is the result. That's what you just saw. But hey, listen, welcome back to The Tap. I'm your host, Andrew, fellow host, Coach D. Man, we got this video from a subscriber of this young lady, beautiful little girl, could look like one of our daughters, who's in the store just being a terror. And she's going through the store throwing stuff. But listen, without further ado, let's go ahead and watch it. Man, we're about to watch it right now, just so you guys can see it.
Don't yell at her. Don't yell at her. You don't know she's meant to. You don't know she's trying to. Don't touch her. Right. Don't report her. That doesn't matter. You don't know what she's Don't y'all do that to a little girl. Y'all don't know what she's supposed to do.
From an era where anything that wasn't nailed to the ground, you got hit with. From an era where you showed out at is where your parents showed up at.
Now I want you to sit there and think about how stupid you are. I'm going to sleep.
The gentle parenting was not even nowhere near a concept in the era that we came up, because our parents stood on business. If that could have been a phrase back then, our parents stood on it firmly. Well, today's show is dedicated to what parents should have did in that situation to prevent some other shit from happening later on down the road.
And I would just second that. I feel that so many often my wife and I, we would, and that may be a little toxic what we watch, but we'll watch like police videos, right? Police cam, they have the body cam videos, and we would see how adults who just can't comply, they can't comply with commands, they can't act normal and just be cool, calm, collected. The moment the police arrive, they're just antsy and extra, and then it leads to a worse situation where maybe it could have been a ticket. This video of this young girl, who I believe is very pretty, she's gonna be a very beautiful woman, but I would tell my sons to avoid her like the plague. Don't talk to a woman who can't act normal and act in society. We have societal norms for a reason. Nobody wants to go to the store and be sitting there having bottles of grape juice thrown around, glass broken, meat being taken off the shelves, the employees trying to pick it all up, people trying that goes against the societal norm. It doesn't work for society. So if this little girl keeps this in her mind and feel like, hey, the whole world needs to stop and look at me because I'm having a bad day, guess what? We all have bad days. We all go through stuff, but that doesn't excuse your behavior. But listen, this video ain't aimed at that little girl. It's aimed at that mother, because it's your damn fault. It's your fault for allowing that little girl to walk through that store and act that way. The moment she stepped out of line, man, the whole trip would have been cut.
You know, it wouldn't have been a part two, me asking you more than once. The thing that was more frightening to me was hearing in the background where concerned adults are stating, stop, don't do that, you know, et cetera, yada, yada, yada. But just to hear the mother or whoever it is to the young lady, don't talk to her. Don't
yell at her. You don't know what Don't y'all do that to a little girl. Y'all don't know what she's supposed to do.
And it's kind of like,
you don't know what she's been through. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm not taking anything from what this young lady has gone through. But obviously, it would appear that she's to the point to where she can be in public. You know, she was, you know, nicely dressed, seemed to, you know, be a polite looking young lady. But if that was just a temper tantrum because something didn't work in her favor, well, then that mom needs her butt handed to her. Because I'm wondering, well, hell, mom, how did you come up? If you think that this is cool, how were you raised? Because in most households, and I'm going to say most African-American households, you clown like that, you working on one. Now, things have changed over the years. Parenting has, like you said, softened. As we were talking before we went live, things have softened up a lot, but we can't stray away from those foundational things as parents that we need to instill in our children. So
I think it's just that video is a microcosm, is an image of modern society accepting this gentle parenting and gentle way of dealing with things. You have people in the education system who can't yell at a student, who can't raise their voice or issue commands. Everything has to be a debate. Everything has to be hey, why don't you sit down because everyone else is sitting down? No, sit down in your seat. Go stand in line with the other students. A lot of times you may not be able to explain all the details to the child. Maybe it could be for their safety. If we go on a field trip, I need you to stand in line because I need to keep count. I have all these things in my mind that I have to process, but if you step out of line and you get lost, it's beyond just my job. I may be facing law. So there's just so many aspects that goes into place with following commands and just knowing how to act in society.
I want to go back a little bit too, where you mentioned if that young lady was a 20-year-old woman. Again, we live in a day and time where pulling a camera phone out is our first go-to before we call 911. And let's just say if that did go wrong, and the police had to get involved and maybe had to rough her up because she just wouldn't stop, then it is people out here that would justify her actions and say that the police, more than likely Caucasian police officers, would be wrong. Well, in this instance, you got to go, okay, are they being extra or are they just doing their job? Because if you're out in the grocery store, you're heaving jars of jelly, it cracks somebody in the head, then what?
Hit somebody's child.
Yeah, hit somebody's child. But not only that, you're breaking merchandise. You're opening meat. You're breaking merchandise. So who's gonna pay for that? So man, it's so many different avenues and different ways that this could be viewed. But I think like Drew said, more importantly, mom, you need a dose of reality, and you need to understand that in no capacity was her behavior acceptable. Now, I work with children every single day. And if that was a student of mine who had some sort of maybe disability or special education or just a troubled child, I'll say a social emotional student who needed that some additional assistance, I'm immediately trying to defuse the situation. And in no capacity am I going to sit back and allow a kid to even put their own selves in harm's way.
And I was going to ask you that, man, just from your position, because I was thinking that too, just from the mom, just to consider this. I understand you're trying to allow her to vent, but at a certain point, you didn't keep her safety in mind, because you're not thinking about how maybe someone else may react to her doing that. Because if she would have hit my child with that glass bottle or something, I'm gonna tear your child up, and then we're gonna get active on you too, because you clearly not doing your job as a parent. But you're not thinking about the child's safety. You don't care about that. You're excusing their behavior, because something's going on. But I would think those who work in the education system, those who work with troubled kids who may need extra attention. And I remember from when I was a kid, there was kids who would crawl up under the table, do weird shit. You know what they did? They literally grabbed them and removed them somewhere else, and were able to de-escalate the situation. So the child wasn't hurt, other children wasn't hurt. But like I said, just today's society, we too many of us are looking at gentle parenting as a way to accommodate children, to make them feel like the world revolves around them. And that's not true, because they get older and they go out into this real world. Guess what they find out? The world don't care. The world ain't sitting here, you having that meltdown. Only if a grown man 20, 30-year-old man come in the store having a meltdown like that, all I'm thinking about getting my kids to safety, get the police on the line, get him out this store. Because this dude,
I don't know what's gonna happen next.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen next.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a child, I'm thinking this child needs some discipline, needs some extra attention, and all of that. But if it's not nipped in the bud, look what it turns into.
Yeah. And then also with that, I also view it as a parent not wanting to look in the mirror and own the fact that I have poor parenting skills. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what it also screams out to me is I have poor parenting skills and I cannot control my kid. Now, again, I don't want to go down the inference ladder or go up the inference ladder, I should say, but I don't know if that baby had some additional things going on. Or I don't know if it was just a genuine temper tantrum. But nonetheless, either way, safety one, because as soon as she picked up something, I'm all over her. I'm bear hugging and I'm walking out the store. You know, if I got to carry that baby out, I'm getting out of there. Because it's just simply embarrassing. There we go. Right. It's just simply embarrassing that, you know, and then I'm going to say it too, but this little black brown baby is showing their ass out in public. Everybody's looking. And now there's those conversations. Oh my God, I was in the grocery store and this little black kid was. So then we get stereotyped that all black kids act like this. You know, so it's so many different little avenues and things that we can hint at that, you know, would have a negative effect on that baby. And I hope and pray that mother seeks some additional guidance or get some counseling, so that she can be better fit to be a parent in situations like that.
And you know what? And I'm gonna close with this. There's other mothers and fathers and guardians that you may be going through this. You may feel like you go somewhere and you don't know how your child is going to act. You don't know what's going to go on. I unfortunately never had that fear because I instilled those boundaries at home. So that child knows when we go out, this is how you're going to act. But it's never too late when they're that young. Because it's easy to train. It's easy to start nipping that stuff in the bud. If they need help, get them in front of them psychologists or whoever they need. I'm not always big on feeling like you have to whoop every time. That one, my kids, man, they'd have got that car. That car would have been
all over the place. But I want to add this one too to what you're closing with. Parents, I am not an advocate for medication. Not for our babies. However,
counseling is different from medication.
Counseling first, but get the baby to the pediatrician and just see. Don't be afraid to have that conversation. Don't be afraid to face that for lack thereof, feeling as if you're a failure. You know, you're not a failure. If anything, and if there's a situation that the baby does need to be medicated, you're helping to curb that behavior, and with hopes of them possibly growing out of that kind of behavior and throwing them type of temper tantrums. But nonetheless, if that baby's all in the clear and there's just a good old fashioned temper tantrum, well, mom, you need to learn how to give a good old fashioned ass kicking. Take that baby out the store, because you know we can't whoop them in the store, because you know where that'll end us up. That'll end us up in the clink. Take that baby out of there, like Drew just said. Take her in the car, crack the windows just a smidget, and let the good times roll.
Let the good times roll.
That baby better touch every door in that car, every seat in that car. Take the seat belt. You know, might have to choke her out a little bit. I'm kidding. I think
about girl. Back the Homer would grab Bart.
Why you little? Yeah. I think moral of the story that both of us as dads, coming from parents who didn't play We both understand times are different, but if you are one of those parents out there, I encourage you to possibly find some elders, find some old school parents, maybe some aunts and uncles, and talk to them and ask them how did they handle discipline or how were they disciplined, so you can get some better guidance in a situation like this, because I don't want my pork chop stepped on, I don't want my turkey chop stepped on, I don't want my steak stepped on.
I would hope that you as a mother don't want to see your child in police custody or be on somebody's t-shirt because they done got killed because they done messed with the wrong person. Because believe me, it's cute when they little. I wouldn't call it cute, but but when they get older, most people ain't gonna deal with that behavior. They feel threatened, they may take someone's life. So if you truly love your child and you want the best for that child, get the help that you need, because the world ain't gonna care. The police ain't gonna come there and sit there and say, well, I think you should do this. Police gonna issue a command. You ain't acting, they gonna start trying to arrest you. If it gets, things can escalate, lives can be taken. It's just a lot of stuff can be nipped in the butt if you do it. But hey, you ain't gotta take our advice. We just two guys on YouTube. We only just fathers with multiple children. So don't believe us. Hey, you ain't gotta take our advice.
But
you
not only
that, go ahead.
We got our asses beat when we got out of line, and that made us the men that we are today.
Strong-willed kids, I'm gonna say this, strong-willed kids need those boundaries.
Yes.
Gentle kids, I have children that I have to be a little bit firmer on, and I have children that I could be a little more, laid back with. Give a direction, I know it's gonna get done. Some children I have to be extra on. That's life. I was that child that I needed those boundaries because I tested it. Yeah. That's life. Don't feel like you failed as a parent. But I ain't gonna lie, if I was in that store, I'd feel like I failed Jesus. Cause I'd have been, man, I'd have been like, I don't know what this child done thought to think that we about to sit here and enjoy the rest of this day.
And go on this merry-go-round ain't gonna happen. Parents, know your non-negotiables. That's all we're saying.
Yeah.
Know your non-negotiables. Have those boundaries established, because it will save your baby or yourself from being on a video on YouTube
Again,
for the world to see.
Yeah. But hey, listen, if you enjoyed our content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. We're on the way up to being monetized. It's going down. Our latest video. Well, if you didn't subscribe right here in the middle. Latest video will be over there. Until next time, guys.